Tengo dos de esos. Y emplean dos idiomas para no escuchar. Los que platican atrás, por favor, pasen adelante y díganos si hay más acentos. If we can move things up and if there's needs for more chairs, please pull them out. Well, God, I just spent the last 15 minutes running through 25 years worth of people. And just everybody's welcome. It's really nice to see you all. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people here feel the same way. I was looking around the room and seeing a lot of people that knew Ben Linder personally, worked on the projects. There's even one or two that recognized his t-shirt back when I didn't fill it quite so well. So we don't really have like a program. I think it's when my son Renee asked me if there's going to be a cover charge. I said, cover charge for a funeral? And he said, well, they're not paying you, maybe. What we do have today is we want to show a film which I think some of you, maybe most of you have seen. It was made by Jason Blaylock. And Jason's supposed to be here, which means I brought a copy of the film just to make sure we could show it. And he probably will be here, and we'll ask him to say a couple of words. Jason was, about 5 years ago, he was inspired to go dig up 20-year-old footage of us when Ben was alive and when all these events happened, and then interview us 20 years later. Now it's 5 years after that, and none of us got any younger. The film, on the other hand, has done a really good job of explaining what it was we were all up to down there and why people put in the time and energy for those projects. And I look around this room and I see all kinds of people that did all kinds of those things. It's a little, it reminds me of a lot of good effort, a lot of good time. So what we would like to do is open up for some conversation, and we maybe do this in 3 parts. We can chat now, and anybody that wants to take this microphone and has something to say, feel free to come up here and take it for a minute. And I'll start and just talk personally about how I feel about Ben Linder and those kinds of things. And then we're going to have Sara that's going to present juggling. And how would we describe the show, Sara?
Juggling is good.
Okay. She'll do a better job than I. And then we'll have another pause in which we're going to open the mic up again, so if you didn't feel like being one of the first ones to talk, you can be in the second row. And then we'll show the film and give some time to talk, and hopefully by that time the filmmaker will have made it here. Joan Krukovic, who turns up in a lot of these things, is actually in El Qua right now. And believe it or not, Wayne Bradford, I don't know how many people here know Wayne, is sending me text messages from Berkeley. And Hilda Renales' daughter, Aide, is sending me messages on Facebook. And there's a Facebook page for El Qua no Mundo, and which I suggest you guys, join the page. People have been coming out of the woodworks all over. I'm told that there are 27 foreign visitors in Berkeley today, along with local. They had a baseball game at Ben Linder Field, and the Bradfords were to throw the first pitch. So, there's been a lot of connections made around this anniversary. John Linder, Ben's elder brother, has organized with the Green Empowerment Group an event in Portland, and he asked me just to let you guys know that the work continues, and if you want to know anything about it, contact the Green Empowerment Group, which we can all now do via Google instead of mail that gets opened by the CIA. Back here on the table, we've set out a few copies of Joan's book, and we also, now the CIA just records us live, right? We have a few copies of Joan's book, signed by Joan, and I think she just asked for some contributions to help pay for this venue or something. And then I I've printed out some photographs. If you get the first ones, you get the ones in color. After that, they turn into black and white because I sent them to the wrong printer, but didn't want to throw them away. And there's some other things that people have brought out. Shelley, you put out some pictures from various trips, and Roger's put out something, I think. There's other stuff there on that table. So, you know, the idea is like to take the time. Now, I was going to get there. Today, 25 years ago, I was a retired, recently retired international development worker, starting a new life in Forlì, Italy. And that new life ended when I saw Ben Linder's picture dead on the front page of the Italian newspaper. I was one of the project workers in the, what they called the Progetto Quabokai in those days, and I worked hand in glove with Ben. He was my engineer. I was a pain-in-the-butt mechanic who has gone on to be a pain-in-the-butt former mechanic and Green Party activist here in Oakland. But, you know, we were all pretty motivated both by environmental concerns and the political situation then as now. I'm probably one of the people who's not really that much of a friend of Ben Linder's as a co-worker, which means we had a very friendly relationship. We were very close and we lived in close quarters, but I knew Ben through work. And one of the things I wanted to share with y'all is when Ben was killed, a lot of my friends like Wayne Bryford were very upset that Ben was credited with a lot of my work. Well, that's because most people don't know the difference between a mechanic and a mechanical engineer. And one of the things that always seems to get lost when we talk about Ben Linder is I knew him as an engineer, and a damn good engineer. We were doing what was called cross-flow Banki turbines, which is a type of hydroelectric setup. And Ben had some of the best research in the world, and you couldn't get it on the internet those days. Ben actually sent me on one trip where I had to go to Paris at Centre Pompidou and look it up. And then we had to copy it, bring it home. And he definitely did design work thinking about how we were going to build that stuff in Nicaragua with Nicaraguans doing the work and Nicaraguan industry being able to support the project. So we ended up doing, we worked on like 3 turbines. I don't know how many coffee depulpers and other pieces of agricultural equipment. We ground a lot of corn, right? But Ben was a very focused engineer, and he would have fit in really well at the Energy and Resources group up here at Berkeley, because he also spent a lot of time thinking about the economics of it. Another member of our team was Mira Brown, who some of you know. And some of the ideas that we were working on were not so much like how to build a hydro plant. We could build a hydro plant, right? We could have just done it. But how were we going to get the Nicaraguan polity, economy, and whatnot able to run the project, to maintain the thing, to pay for it, to keep people trained, all that kind of stuff. And that's where the Quabokai project was a success, but many others were failures. If you go to some of the other places I worked in Nicaragua over the years, the wind blows through. Things just collapsed. And in the case of Quabokai, there's an electric company still sitting there. There is a way of doing things sitting there, and all the people have changed. There is not one person on that project from the time that I worked there that still works on it. But it still runs. And they still continue to develop and do things, and there's new people doing new challenges. Of course, Rebecca Leaf stepped in and took over from Ben and did much that he never did. You know, and all the people that work on that project today, they're the ones that we should really think about, because they really have put in years of work, and they took it from that stage where it was a project and an initiative to that stage where it's an institution that keeps working from year to year, putting up with those long, boring details, and is the power company for a dozen villages in this section of Nicaragua. So that's about all I want to say right now. Is there anybody else who would like to talk?
What's your name?
My name's Don Clay. Does anybody want to take the mic right now, or do we want to just ask Sarah to start? Or it always sucks to be the first one to talk. So.
Hi, I'd just like to say a few words. My name is Davida Cody. I'm the president of the San Carlos Foundation, and we are a very small foundation which Martin Sheen and Father Bill O'Donnell and I started 29 years ago to fund people like Ben Linder. And we've operated out of a couple of file doors in my house for 29 years. So I think people would like to know that Ben was funded by an organization right here in Berkeley. And we picked up his immediate successor's funding after he died. And then Rebecca Leaf, who we have funded now for 27 years, I think. And my understanding is that's the only funding that either one of them had for their living expenses, which is what we give. Not very much, $6,000 a year. But I think one of the saddest days of my life was the day I heard that Ben had been killed. Someone called me at 2 o'clock in the morning. And but I just always feel that his death was a turning point in stopping the war down there. I just always have looked at it that way. So anyway, it's nice to be here with friends.
I'd like to add that Ben and Mira and I split the two salaries 3 ways. My salary of $23 a month in Cordobas, which is 1.3 million Cordobas, and I'm not kidding. Somewhere I have the 20 Cordobas with the 20,000 rubber stamp on top of them. People want to know what the Weimar Republic was like. They should look at Nicaragua in the late 70s. The support of that organization really kind of saved us. If you think about it, my salary is $23 a month. Imagine what $6,000 felt like. And that's like how we were able to do things like go home. Does anybody else want to start and say something before we give over to Sarah? Don't all talk at once. Sarah, are you ready?
Sure.
Okay.